Rome, 54 AD, the heart of the greatest empire the world has ever known. But beneath the marble columns and the golden statues of the Caesars, a different kind of power was brewing. A power not found in legions or laws, but in the silent, deadly properties of a hemlock root or a crushed nightshade berry. Welcome back to FirstoGraphy. Today, we are stepping back into the shadows of the 1st century to uncover the life of a woman history often forgets, yet she holds a terrifying title. She was the state-sanctioned assassin, the personal chemist to emperors, and arguably the first recorded serial killer in history. Her name was Locusta of Gaul. Most serial killers operate in the fringes of society. They hide in the dark, hunting the vulnerable, but Locusta was different. She was a professional. She lived in the palace. She was protected by the most powerful men on earth, because she provided a service they couldn't live without, the ability to make their enemies disappear without a trace of blood. Locusta wasn't born into Roman nobility. She was a provincial, coming from the rugged lands of Gaul. In the ancient world, the Gauls were known for their deep knowledge of nature, both its healing properties and its lethal ones. Locusta was a master of toxicology. While other girls her age were learning to weave, she was studying the toxic profiles of belladonna, arsenic, and mushrooms. She understood the art of the dose, how to make someone die slowly over weeks, or instantly at the dinner table. She arrived in Rome sometime in the early 40s AD. At first, she was a freelancer, a back alley chemist for those looking to settle private debts or inheritance disputes. But word of her talent reached the highest levels of the Roman aristocracy. In a city where political assassination was a way of life, Locusta was the ultimate weapon. Enter Agrippina the Younger, the mother of Nero and the wife of the Emperor Claudius. Agrippina was ambitious. She wanted her son, Nero, on the throne, but there was one problem: her husband, Claudius, was still alive. Agrippina couldn't just have him stabbed. That would look like a coup. She needed it to look natural. She needed Locusta. Locusta was commissioned to prepare a specific dish, Claudius's favorite, wild mushrooms. She coated the mushrooms in a slow-acting but potent toxin. According to Roman historians, the poison didn't work fast enough. Claudius became ill, but his doctors, who were also in on the plot, pretended to help him by inducing vomiting with a feather. That feather, however, had also been dipped in Locusta's poison. By the next morning, the emperor was dead. Nero was the new ruler of Rome, and Locusta, she was now the most valuable asset in the imperial courts. Nero was only 16 when he took power, and he was paranoid. His half-brother, Britannicus, was the true biological heir to Claudius and a constant threat to Nero's legitimacy. Nero turned to the woman who had helped his mother. He ordered Locusta to kill Britannicus, but the first attempt failed. The boy simply got a case of diarrhea. Nero was furious. Legend says he personally beat Locusta, accusing her of giving him medicine instead of poison. Under the threat of death, Locusta went back to work. She developed a poison so fast-acting that it was said to strike like lightning. This is where Locusta's genius showed. They cooled the soup with cold water. It was the water that was poisoned. Britannicus took one sip, lost his breath, and collapsed. Nero calmly told the guests his brother was just having an epileptic fit. Minutes later, Britannicus was dead. Locusta had succeeded where the Roman army couldn't. For her service, Nero didn't just pay Locusta. He rewarded her with a lavish estate and, most shockingly, state-sanctioned immunity. He gave her students. She became the head of what we can only call a school of poisoning. Under the protection of the emperor, she tested her concoctions on slaves and condemned criminals, refining her science of murder. 4 years, she was the silent hand behind the throne, the woman who made the first recorded serial killer in history a title of dark prestige. But the favor of an emperor is a fickle thing. In 68 AD, Nero was declared a public enemy and committed suicide. Locusta lost her protector. The new emperor, Galba, had no use for Nero's creatures. He wanted to clean up the corruption of the previous regime. Locusta was arrested. Her end was as brutal as her life was secret. She was led through the streets of Rome in chains and executed. Some accounts say she was torn apart by wild animals. Others say she was simply put to the sword. The woman who had mastered the silent kill died in the most public way possible. Locusta of Gaul was a pioneer of a dark sort. She proved that knowledge of the natural world could be used as a weapon just as effectively as a gladius. She stands in the annals of history as a reminder that the most dangerous people aren't always those on the battlefield. Sometimes they are the ones standing quietly in the kitchen, preparing your favorite meal. She remains, forever, the first recorded serial killer in history. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the darker side of the ancient world, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to FirstoGraphy. We bring you the firsts that shaped our world, the good, the bad, and the lethal. What should we cover next? The first spy? The first heist? Let us know in the comments below. I'm your host, and this is FirstoGraphy. See you in the next chapter of history.